Because it had a burnt out motor, and I want to do this video because it looks like this is a pretty common problem with these motors burning out. There's really not a lot of complicated electronics to these things, but yeah, I had a lot of problems finding this. So once you flip it over, I got it kind of diagnosed to the fact that it is indeed, or was indeed, a burnt out motor, and this is the one that I pulled out of it down here, but the part number on the one I pulled out was that JLDQ-11, and then there's some other number there, which I think is this more specific one. This specific unit was kind of difficult to track down, and so I found one online which had a different number, but the guy who was selling it just swore that, oh, no, it's a JLDQ-11. It's the same thing, right? Well, it turns out that I think the way they did this was this is probably the motor, because you see, and the wattage is the same. I mean, everything looks identical with them. So that the housing made of plastic is the same, but the rest of the assembly that actually, with the worm gear drive inside and the two stop switches at the end, that thing was actually a different length. So I contacted the guy and was a little disgruntled about it because he swore that, no, you just put it back on. It's no problem. Anyway, so I ended up keeping the one that was the wrong length. And what I figured out, and so in this particular chair, all I needed to do to remove it mechanically was, there's this little pin with a cotter pin at the end. So you pull that out, there's a single bolt that goes in, doesn't even screw in anything. And then on both sides of this worm drive assembly, there are these two kind of nylon blocks that bolt onto the actual chair, two on that side, two on the underside. Electrically, there is the main AC cable that connects via some proprietary connector, and then there's one of these DIN connectors, I think, like on an old computer, that goes to this, the actual up and down switches on the control box of the chair. So that's it. Figuring it out might take you a little bit, but there really isn't a lot to it. Okay, so once you get that out, if you do need to, I had to swap parts here. So what I did is I cut off all the little stickers. There is a bunch of all identically sized screws that come out of this box, and it just separates. Just pop that off. There wasn't anything, that needed to melt or cut away other than the sticker to get that pulled apart. And then this kind of looks like the assembly of a CNC axis, if you've ever done any of that, where there's a stop switch on both sides and there's two wires that come out of this. The colors didn't match. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm 99% certain the two wires that actually come out of this assembly are for the stop switches on both. So those just plug, and conveniently enough, they put in little spade connectors here. So you just snap those apart, swap this assembly onto the new motor, put the box back together, screw that in, drop that back into the chair, and it all seems to work. So anyway, if you're having problems, just know that as long as you have the same motor, if you end up having an extra one of these that's the wrong length, it's not a big deal because you can use your old one. There's nothing electrical inside of that. You may just have to lube up. I did put some extra grease here in this drive, and then the bearing, I just kind of rotated my existing one. It's not like it's coming out of a race car, so I mean, it felt pretty solid. And even if it wasn't, I think if it wobbled a little bit, it wouldn't be a big deal. So anyway, that's the full chair reassembled, works like new. Good luck.